So, Gary, if I may, just to go back to the conversations of drones that we started with, how do you see the evolution of drone delivery turning into the passenger drones and the economic side of it? How do we create the environment, the business environment?
We have to accept the reality at the moment, and that is the cost of these programs. Mark Moore in 2016 said it would be around about $1 billion to design, develop, and type certify an eVTOL. Now, that figure already, a lot of companies have exceeded it. China, EHang has managed to do it under $100 million in China. But if you look at most of the European and American developers, that cost is already way over that point. Now, the biggest problem that you have is, that money's got to be recouped out of something else. So, you now got to sell so many thousand aircraft just to recuperate that money. So that's going to be a big issue. It's far easier to take an existing aircraft, like even with something like the Nuncats CH-5750. The problem with a lot of these programs is it's going to take a lot more to actually type certify these things. No matter what anybody says, 2025 doesn't look that promising, at least in the West. So we've got to get that. That's one thing we've got to get out of the way. The other thing as well is that for me has always been the biggest challenge is that to compete with, say, Blade flies 3 to 4 flights per hour during peak hours between each way between Newark. Newark, I think they can do 4 because of the distance. I think that's the shortest distance, if I'm not mistaken. So between Manhattan and Newark, or Manhattan and JFK, or Manhattan and LaGuardia. So that they've got to be able to do with just top up charging. So that's still a challenge. I don't think anybody's there yet, and nobody's shown that they can do it. That's always going to be the big challenge. You've got to be able to compete with helicopters, and you've got to be able to do it at a similar cost. Now, when we start talking about a $5 to $7 million list price for an eVTOL passenger aircraft versus 3.2 million for an Airbus H125, or $1.5 million for a Bell 505 or Robinson R66. There's a massive point that you've got to do, and how much
A part
how
of the
much
cost of the
lower has your
aircraft.
operating and maintenance cost got to be to actually achieve a similar
Yes.
total cost per seat as something like a 7-seater H125 or Bell
Is
407?
there a study on economics of this type of things? Is
There's
there
been some work
a
done.
paper?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
But you said
I
that they
you
couldn't
know
they couldn't prove it. They couldn't yet achieve that yet. But is this because of the finance part of the side of things, or is it because of the lifting passengers costs takes so much energy that it's just not, the technology is not there yet?
Yeah. Well, look, if you think about it, you've got average US male, probably around 100 kilograms now, plus some baggage. An airline carry-on bag supposed to be 7 to 10 kilograms. That's got to be carried, plus your laptop bag. So it's significant weight that's got to be lifted. That's one thing. So, and that, you require quite a lot of energy to lift that. But I think the other thing is just where the battery technology is at the moment. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why Archer and Joby are looking at things like, fuel cells for military applications, or hybrid in the case of Archer. But again, that has a direct spin-off into the civilian models.